During my recent 6-hour play session of Crimson Desert, I was able to check out many of the game systems, including the very in-depth skill menu. So I want to share everything I learned, including footage of all the skills, some of which you've not seen before, and this will really help you go in prepared. Some skills are immediately unlocked from the beginning, like Armed Combat to use your regular attacks, but cool is that you can also upgrade that skill to unlock brand new moves, like Evasive Slash for a backstab, or a Charge to push enemies while having your guard up. With Rush, you do a forward evasion and also push enemies with your shield. And after spending 4 Abyss artifacts in this skill, you can do that quick swap ability that I showed in a previous video. So then with one move, you switch from your one-handed weapon to your two-handed weapon that you have equipped, or the other way around. Stab is also unlocked from the start. You can charge this move as well to impale enemies. You can upgrade it to make the charged stab better with a follow-up attack. And you can also move enemies around with this stab attack with another upgrade. You can also do this stab attack from the air, and if you really like it, you want to get the final upgrade because this lets you ignore the enemies, their defense. You got a special spinning attack that you can upgrade with additional spins. Very early on you learn to blind enemies with your sword, and with the blinding flash finisher you can then combine that with heavy attacks for some nice extra damage. Those R2 or right trigger attacks are called forward slashes that you can also upgrade to improve the damage and make sure that they don't miss. You also have a shield bash from the start with L1 and R2. Turning Slash is really strong. It lets you charge up your attack, and then the first upgrade lets you do the attack while performing another skill as a combo. You can also add an additional slash by holding R1 and R2, with the final upgrade making sure you ignore the enemy's armor. If you prefer a more ranged playstyle, then this is certainly possible. While a headshot is not really a thing in this game, there are archery moves that make this a more powerful way to play. I love Evasive Shot, which lets you, by pressing the dodge button, teleport away, and if you then upgrade it, you shoot a couple of arrows at the enemy. You can also do a special leap backwards by fully upgrading this skill. You got multi-shot, where you fire 10 arrows in front of you to push enemies away. There's a regular archery skill to just improve firing a bow. And you got a charged shot that costs spirit and deals 1 powerful blow to the enemy. And there are some upgrades to this, but I will touch on that a bit later. And we know that Cliff is capable of some wrestling moves. Well, you already have multiple attacks from the start, like a throw, but also restrain, where you take an enemy hostage. And the crazy part is that you will not know about this move if you do not inspect this skill, so now you know. Upgrade this Grapple skill to be able to slam an enemy into the ground. You can also hold on to what seems to be a bigger enemy to attack or escape danger. And I love the giant swing, where you grab someone and throw them even further. And with the fully upgraded Grapple skill, you can do multiple lariat follow-ups. Charge into an enemy and slam them into the ground is also possible with one skill, just like a body slam that I tried a couple of times, but it was pretty hard to hit the enemy with this. Then there is Unarmed Combat that, as I told you before, is surprisingly good, and you can upgrade this skill even more. So from the start you can do a leg sweep out of a roll. Upgrade the unarmed skill once, and then you can, while crouching, wrap your legs around an enemy to bring them down. And then the fun starts, because by further upgrading you improve the unarmed combat, you get access to heavy fist attacks, and you also, with the final upgrade, have this charged attack. You then do a ton of rapid punches, and then you push the enemy away. There's also a flying kick that I tried, but just like with the body slam, it wasn't that strong, although the meteor kick variant does look a bit better. Do not spend an Abyss artifact on pump kick, because you can learn this skill early on from Matthias, the knight that you fight during Act 2 of the main story. This lets you push enemies away, it's pretty strong. There's also a drop kick. Doesn't look that strong, also wasn't able to try it, but a skill I did use a lot during my previous session is Vault. It lets you leap over the enemy, dropping them on the ground, really strong against shield enemies and to get out of annoying situations. And a quick recap, I already briefly touched on the Abyss artifacts, so these are needed to unlock the skills, and there are multiple ways to get them. So you have a bar next to your minimap that fills by killing enemies. If it's full, then you get 1 Abyss artifact. But I also found these sealed Abyss artifacts that have a challenge, like defeat 3 enemies with a shield, complete that, and then you also get an Abyss artifact. After reaching Act 2 in the main story, I got a Faded Abyss artifact, and this lets you reset all your skills, so you get all your Abyss artifacts back. But the skills that you learned by observing an NPC or an enemy will always remain. Moving on to the green spirit skill tree. Early on you observe and learn the Force Palm that you can use for puzzles or as an attack, but also while airborne to launch yourself higher. And there's a healing variant as well to restore health of NPCs, it seems. Upgrading the skill lets you do an additional palm strike, and it also lets you launch yourself even higher into the air. There's also a Force Palm Pulse. If you use the Unarmed Combat button, which is triangle or Y on Xbox, you follow up with a powerful strike with this skill. Another skill you will learn early on during the main story is called Nature's Grasp, that you can use to lift things. And you might remember that during an earlier preview session, there was this boss battle where pillars would be destroyed and you could lift those to deal a ton of damage to that boss. Focus is nice because it slows down time, and an upgrade lets you then push enemies away while in this state. You can also use it to counter an enemy attack, apparently. Also, while in the focus state, you recover your spirit, which is nice. And you can also do a Force Palm out of a focus. Here you seem to charge it first, so I'm kind of curious how this works, but it does look kind of powerful. There's also a special focus shot that lets you shoot multiple arrows in this precision mode that you can upgrade further. Again, it looks kind of powerful, and you have an evasive focus shot that you can do while aiming your bow or while rolling. There's a regular parry, and how it works is that you want to press the guard button, so L1 or the left button, just before the enemy strikes to parry them. You can also time your dodge perfectly with the upgrade for this skill, and there's a counter. If you attack just before getting hit, you do this counter. There's also a regular evasive roll as a separate skill that you can unlock, and a simple double jump, which will likely be useful. You can block incoming projectiles and even send them back at enemies, which looks kind of powerful. You do this with the upgrade. And you can summon a phantom clone that mimics your attacks, including that R2 / and also the spinning slash and the stab that I mentioned earlier. Another thing you get very early on is the Axiom Force, your grapple hook, and you can upgrade the skill to use it to launch yourself across a wall, for example, or for that aerial swing that I also showed you in an earlier video. You can then also combine it with the Light Falling Palm skill to destroy a watchtower, it seems, which is pretty wild. And there's a spirit skill that lets you grab an enemy with the grapple hook to perform a long-ranged unarmed combat attack, or in this case to drop a tree. There's also the winch skill that lets you pull an enemy in and then slam them into the ground. You can also improve the flying with the crow wings and perform high speed dashes in the air with another skill. And yes, as you know, there are multiple elements that you can use to enhance attacks. So how it works is that you can then upgrade the skill to enhance multiple abilities with a preferred element. Meteor Kick in combination with these attacks looks pretty sick. So we have Fire, Ice, Shock, and also Fog that lets you deploy smoke, which can be very nice in groups. And the final skill is the Mystical Storage that lets you store items in a so-called Cuckoo Iron Pot. There are a few more individual elemental skills in this red skill tree, and there are, by the way, also these big nodes, and spending Abyss artifacts in the red node gives you extra health. Green gives extra spirit, and blue gives extra stamina, so these might be useful as well. Now I'll of course let you know which skills you should unlock ASAP in the full game, so subscribe to not miss any of my spoiler-free tips and tricks. You can still enter my giveaway for the deluxe edition via the link in the pinned comment. Leave a like, check out my previous video by clicking on the screen, and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.